Under the Scope.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Under the Scope. We've got another movie review for you this week. It's another solo review as Shane is still on vacation, so it's just me, and I'm fresh out of a screening of the brand new Marvel film, Guardians of the Galaxy. Have you heard of it? I'm sure you have. It's kind of a big deal. Anyway, so this, if you haven't heard, I'll give you a few details. This movie is the cosmic version of the Marvel Universe. It's in outer space. It stars Chris Pratt as Peter Quill, a.k.a. Star-Lord. Zoe Saldana as Gamora. You've got Bradley Cooper as the voice of Rocket. He's a raccoon-like guy. You've got Vin Diesel as the voice of Groot. And you've got David Bautista as Drax the Destroyer. They are the Guardians of the Galaxy. This film was written and directed by James Gunn. Definitely the biggest film he's done to date. And all I can say is he delivers. He delivers 100%. So, quick plot. I'm not going to get into too many details because that would spoil all the fun. But basically, Peter Quill, he's a bit of a bandit, an outlaw, if you will. And he goes to an abandoned planet to find an orb. You've seen this in the trailers. I'm not spoiling anything. And apparently this orb is a big deal. It's a big deal enough to get him captured and landed in prison, where he meets up with the rest of these characters. And for various reasons, they decide that it's in their best interest to hang out with each other. I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything. It's too much fun. So our story sets in motion. You've got a bad guy. You've got Lee Pace as Ronan the Accuser. He is an alien who's apparently a bit of a religious zealot, and he wants to destroy people. So there. And this all ties into the larger cosmic side of the Marvel Galaxy, or Marvel Universe. So, our story goes... So what do we think about this film? It's fantastic. This thing is fun, packed to the gills, through and through, from beginning to end. There's a lot of humor, perfectly timed jokes, just great dialogue, fun characters. It's hard to get into too many details without spoiling it. You kind of just have to see it, and I know you will, because these things are a big deal. So, the acting is great. I mean, not all the characters, these are comic book characters, so you're not going to get, a lot of depth in some cases, but I think most of the characters have pretty well-defined motivations for the most part. And, they shift as needed, and it all makes sense for the most part, which is kind of nice. I think Lee Pace is does a good job as a very menacing Ronan the Accuser, a very satisfying villain, I think. Chris Pratt is, if you're familiar with his work at all, he is great comedic timing, and I think that he is completely a superstar. And you're going to see more of him in Jurassic World, and he's a star. Forget it. You'll never look at him the same way again. Zoe Saldana she's a proven pedigree in high-level films like the Star Trek franchise and Avatar, and she does a good job as Gamora. Oh, I almost forgot Karen Gillan. If you're a Doctor Who fan, Karen Gillan as one of the other female leads, Nebula. They get to have a big fight, and it's fun. James Gunn, like I said, he's never done anything this big before, and smaller films like Super, and I'm trying to think what else he's done, but I would have had doubts that they would prepare you to produce a film on the scale of this, but boy, he did his homework, or he just has an innate talent, because he manages to put together a really satisfying caper film, a great team film, a great high-end special effects sci-fi film all together in one. And I'm very happy that he's back for the sequel in 3 years. That's been confirmed already. So kudos to James Gunn for putting together a very fun thrill ride of a film. If I have anything to say in the negative column, it would be that the third act gets a little bit mushy. And by that I mean that there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's not always clear exactly what's happening. But for the most part, you don't care, because it's just such a visual feast, and it's so much fun to see these characters doing what they do. I'll let that little bit slide. Something we often talk about on the show here is that for a film to do really well, it needs to have the good stuff needs to overwhelm any of the small bad stuff, and this film definitely does that. As far as how it fits into the larger Marvel universe, we got some cars to deal with here. In the larger Marvel universe, it's very different feel from the superhero films we've been seeing to this point, because it's all aliens, it's all spaceships, it's you're introduced to a whole bunch of new cultures and stuff like that. If you're a fan of the comics, you're probably familiar with some of these locations and some of these races and some of the stuff you're going to see. But if you're not a fan of the comics, I don't think you need to worry. I'm not really 100% up on all the cosmic side of the Marvel Universe. I haven't read any of that stuff in 20 years, so I think the film does just a fine job of giving you enough information that to be able to know what's going on and where you are and who's involved. And really, that's all you can expect at this level. And if you want to know more, hey, there's a whole wealth of comic books to read. But there's no Iron Man, there's no Thor, there's no traditional superhero. So I think it's sort of a brave risk that Marvel has taken to put this out there. Now, it's definitely calculated risk, because if you're familiar with all of the pieces that are and how they fit together, this sort of dovetails off of things that we've seen already. The special scene at the end of Thor: The Dark World, you saw Sif visit the Collector, and the Collector shows up again in this film, and there's definitely things that are being collected, not necessarily by him, but in general, things that could be collected that will probably lead to a future film with a certain character who gets introduced in full form in this film. So look forward to that. So it definitely fits into the larger tapestry that Marvel Studios is building, even though it's a completely different side of the universe and a completely different type of character. So there's that. And I think it really lends itself a lot of... It gives weight to the film, because they're building to something bigger, even though this film stands on its own. And yeah. So anyway, I should probably give this thing a score.
The Scope score is 3 3/4 stars.
So 3 3/4 stars. I can't give it a full 4 stars because of the bit of the mushiness in the third act, but otherwise this is a thoroughly satisfying film. So much joy. I was grinning through most of the film, laughing much of the time, and just when certain things and certain people show up, it's just such a satisfying thrill that you know what? I'm excited to see it again. And guess what? I have to see it again, because at our screening, we didn't get any special credits sequence. So if I want to see that, I'm going to have to pony up the money to go see it again. And see it again I shall. And so should you. 3 3/4 stars for Guardians of the Galaxy from Marvel Studios, in theaters August 1st. Go see it. And if you like what we do here on the show, you can always show your support by liking, commenting, or subscribing. All that stuff's in the area down below if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're not, hey, have yourself a pleasant day, and I'll see you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves once again at the end. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I know I have. Fear not, Scope faithful. Days shall pass as if they were but a moment, and Jared, Adam, and Shane will return with another thrilling episode. Until then, send your comments to comments@thescopeshow.com or leave a voicemail message by dialing
612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673.
Thanks for listening, faithful fans. This is Tony Partington saying arrivederci. Tune in next time to another terrific edition of The Scope.